Hello, class. Today I would like to talk to you about elderly abuse in long-term care facilities. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself and why this topic stands out to me so much. I am a certified nursing assistant, and my name is listed on the North Carolina Nurse Aid Registry. I worked in several nursing homes, and I've seen many of the residents there being abused, whether it's physical, sexual, or psychological. Let me tell you what a long-term care facility is. A long-term care facility is a place that provides a variety of services, both medical and personal care, to people who are unable to manage independently on their own. Many of the people that I see day to day are elderly people with dementia or Alzheimer's or cancer patients or patients who have a neurological condition, which is a condition of the brain. But I've seen several people being abused at my current job. Before we continue, let's recap on what abuse is. Abuse is a violation of an individual's human and civil rights by another person or persons. An article written by Pam Pooley states that it is the mistreatment of an older person resulting in suffering or distress. Now, there are a few types of abuse that I would like to talk to you about. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, and psychological abuse. Physical abuse and sexual abuse kind of go hand in hand because they both could be you touching the patient. The difference is physical abuse is you are literally hitting the patient, pushing the patient, grabbing the patient, doing something that the patient tells you that they don't want to do. That is physical abuse. An example of physical abuse would be, I am going into a patient's room to take their blood pressure. She tells me that she doesn't want her blood pressure taken. So therefore, I grab her arm, twist it, and hold it, and take her blood pressure, resulting in bruises and maybe a sprained wrist. That is a sign of physical abuse. Sexual abuse is when you are inappropriately speaking or touching the resident. An example of sexual abuse would be a coworker of mine going in to help Mrs. Jones take a shower. While he is helping Mrs. Jones take a shower, he begins to inappropriately touch her genital area. That is a sign of sexual abuse. Many of the residents in our nursing home do not report abuse because they are afraid. But physical abuse and sexual abuse should always be reported. There are several signs of physical abuse that you can look for. Bruising is a telltale sign of someone's being abused. We had this one resident who was being physically abused, and it would be 95 degrees outside, and she would always have on a long sleeve sweater. It's always good to check because elderly people are always cold. So when we checked her arm and we found these bruises and we asked her, she didn't want to talk to us about it. But a family member came and told our director of nursing what was happening to her and what she was going back and telling them. The person who was abusing her was terminated and the family did press charges. Another type of abuse I would like to talk to you about is psychological abuse. Psychological abuse includes shouting, swearing, and laughing, even neglecting the patient. Many patients experience psychological abuse every day. An example of psychological abuse would be a patient that has fallen and is pushing the call bell for someone to come help them up. No one responds. That is an example of psychological abuse. Another example of psychological abuse is telling the patient that she or he is fat and overweight and that they need to lose weight. We get that all the time where I work. Personally, I do not abuse my residents. I do not treat anyone how I would want to be treated. When talking about elderly abuse, it is important to remember that they are humans just as much as we are. They're important, and they matter. Imagine if it was your grandmother or grandfather who was being abused. How would that make you feel? What would you do about it? How would you feel if it was you that was being abused? Would you like it? Would it hurt your feelings? Would you want someone to speak up for you? The National Center on elder abuse states that a study done in 2008, interviewing 2,000 nursing home residents, 44% said that they have been abused. A whopping 95% said that they have been neglected in some way or have seen another resident neglected. This has got to stop. Neglect is not the way to treat anyone. Please, if you see anyone being neglected, whether you are visiting a hospital, visiting a nursing home, or it's in your own home, if you see someone being abused or neglected, please turn it in. Let's save the people who have once saved us. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this speech, and I look forward to your critique. Thank you.